Madam Chairman, is it working? Do you think it's working? Yes. Madam Chairman, Your Excellency, Madam Carmen Romana de Lopez Portillo, honored delegates, I am glad to greet you in the name of Israel and to listen to these most inspiring speeches here today. Being in Mexico is always a unique experience, for here one encounters both the splendor of ancient civilization and the modern activity of a great nation which has known much sorrow and yet is full of hope. It is a nation that grew out of agony of enslavement and carries in its heart the ideals of freedom and social justice. It is a nation that knew how to fuse its original culture with what is beautiful in the Spanish legacy. Bitter memories of suffering and blood have given way to development and creativity. Mexico is taking its rightful place in the family of nations. It is doing this under the courageous leadership of its president, who is a distinguished statesman and a great humanist. And at his side, Senora Carmen Romano de Lopez Portillo, whose blessed initiative brought us here together. An initiative which is so fitting in view of her varied activities on behalf of the children, mothers, the family, and the arts. It is inspiring to see one person carrying such a burden on her shoulders with so much zeal and devotion. All of us here, I'm sure, are deeply grateful to her for the opportunity she has offered us of meeting here to share experiences in the search for ever more effective means to ensure for all children a better and more promising future. Dear friends, permit me to express my feelings through a quotation from Pablo Casals. Children are our greatest treasure. When we speak of them, we speak of the future of the world. Together with the people of all lands, we must work to protect that common treasure. To me, the life of a single child is worth more than all my music. And Albert Einstein, there are no great discoveries of great progress so long as there is an unhappy child on earth. An ancient Jewish tradition tells us that three partners join together in creating a child: his father, his mother, and God himself. Now, in our modern society, there often seems to be a need for a fourth partner, the society in which he lives. This is why the need for a special concern for the child is felt the world over, even though in varying degrees. It goes without saying that those who initiated the idea of International Year of the Child knew very well that 1 year wouldn't solve all the problems in this respect. Their intention was surely to bring these problems into the limelight. This year was meant to give a new impetus to projects which already existed and to encourage the development of new activities in the future. It is about these two aspects that I wish to speak to you today. First, permit me to tell you a little of the rather special background of Israeli society, in which our children are born and brought up. The population of Israel is more than 3.5 million people. 3,200,000 Jews and about 400,000 Muslims, Christians, and Druze. We have two official languages, Hebrew and Arabic. The Jewish population is made up of people, if not immigrants themselves, are descendants of immigrants from 102 different countries, speaking 81 languages. More than half come from Asia and Africa, and the rest from Europe, North America, and Latin America. This enormous diversity of cultures, standards, and customs is bound to influence children growing up in this environment. It creates a need for special measures which would not be necessary in a harmonious society. A great deal of effort is put into finding the common denominator for all these children and into developing these qualities which the modern pedagogue considers important. We are trying our best to create a society established on three bases: the moral code of biblical values, the ethics of universal humanism, and the methods of modern science. Simultaneously, we have to contend with problems which result from the diverse standards of our people and try our best to solve them. It was obvious to us that there can be no hope of progress for the child if we do not deal with the problems of his parents and his environment. The campaign against illiteracy, which affected about 12% of our population, was important not only for adults but also for the future of the child. An effort has been made to involve the family as such as much as possible in the child's education. From among the dozens of projects in the sphere of children's education, permit me to mention only three which have been developed in recent years. The first is called Etgar, Challenge, and it was started initially in a slum neighborhood of Tel Aviv. Today, it involves 7,000 families in 75 different places. The aim of the project for mothers lacking in education is to train them to educate their children from the age 3 to 6, mainly through games, but also through other activities in a carefully thought out program. The mother, in effect, becomes the teacher, showing her child how to read, to write, and to sum. After a year or two, she herself trains other mothers to do the same. We can already say, as a result of research, that there is a noticeable differences between the children who have received this kind of positive training and those who have not. And not only do the children achieve more, but the mother herself gains confidence and tremendous satisfaction. Her status within the family rises, and a new and important dimension is added to her relationship with her child. The second project is called Milo, and it is designed for cultural enrichment of children and parents in disadvantaged areas. The program today covers 44 kindergarten centers. The teachers, children, and parents listen together to music, visit exhibitions, and suitable theatrical presentations. The involvement is not purely passive, but they often take part in various types of creative activities. In every one of these centers, special attention is paid for cultural heritage of this particular ethnic group in the area. In addition, there are discussion groups of parents and teachers to deal with the children's problems. They exchange impressions and ideas. The teacher gets to know the child better, and the parents gain a sense of responsibility and pride in contributing to their child's development. The third project is called Siach, Integration. It is an easy one, but it is most exciting. Its aim is to mix upper-level retarded children with normal kind of children. Each retarded child having an individual tutor specially trained in dealing with this age group. The following are the results of a pilot study of 1,000 retarded children who were in mixed kindergarten. 63% were able to go on regular primary school. 17% went to special classes within regular primary school. 18% stayed on for another year, and only 2.5% had to remain in a special educational framework. It is unnecessary to note how delighted the teacher and parents were with these results. No less significant was the fact that the normal children became accustomed to the presence among them of retarded children and accepted them in the group. Today in factories, in fields, we see retarded children or people do productive work. In the future, retarded youngsters who have gone through this educational experience will find employment more easily and smoothly. Distinguished delegates, with your permission, I shall now deal with the second part of my survey. This is with a special project decided upon last year at the beginning of the International Year of the Child. I shall describe them briefly and take the liberty of distributing to you material which gives a more detailed account of each one of them. The first project was carrying out activities to acquaint children of different cultural background with each other, including the relationship between Jewish and Arab children. In view of the cultural diversity of our society, we felt it was vital to try to ward off the danger of alienation and distance among the various groups, and to teach every child to recognize and respect the culture and way of life of others. Second, cultivating the creativity of children in many fields, not leaving the discovery of talent to chance, but finding ways to seek it out and give it the opportunity to express itself. I was happy to hear the representative of Bulgaria speaking so impressively about this subject also. The third one is strengthening the ties between the young child and its family, and attempting to narrow the inevitable gap between the generations. This was done through some of the relevant activities I have dealt before, such as Edgar, Milo, and Siach. 4. Using every available means to make both child and the public more sensitive to child safety, particularly on the streets and the roads. And here again, I was glad to hear that the representative of Costa Rica, that they have the same topic on their program. The fifth one is preparing a comprehensive program for the advancement of handicapped child in the community, the retarded, crippled, deaf, chronically ill, and emotionally disturbed. During my 10 years as a clinical psychologist with such children, I became convinced that in addition to treating this child himself and rehabilitating him by enabling him within the limits of his capacity to support himself, to be independent, it is absolutely necessary to make it clear to the public that these children must not be considered useless human beings with whom it is best to have no contact and who should be shut up in an institution. Their own parents tend to suffer from guilt feelings, as if they were at fault in bringing handicapped children to the world. A revolution in public opinion may, however, be in the making. So we have seen that the deaf are capable of creating a wonderful ballet, that the retarded can be assembled a part of electronic instruments, that the blind or invalid can become skilled telephonists, or like Isaac Perelman, a remarkable violinist. When I met lately with Madame Jihan Sadat, I learned that in Egypt too, they had chosen this topic of rehabilitation of young children as one of the topic of the Year of the Child. And today, I heard that Costa Rica has chosen the same. Madam Chairwoman, honored delegates, I wish to congratulate the representative of Colombia, Costa Rica, and Guyana for their suggestions. Although all of us are gratified, I'm sure, but what we have accomplished during the Year of the Child, we must still feel embarrassed that we haven't done enough to solve the basic problem, protection of the child's life in the fundamental sense of the word. I mean, the child as war victim. The dreadful pictures of Cambodian children haunt us. The adults urge and the children suffer. In the words of the prophet Jeremiah, he said, "The fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the teeth of the children are set on edge." We in Israel are especially sensitive to this horror. 6 million of our people were annihilated with cruelty in the gas chambers of the Nazis. Among them, there were 1.25 million children. We who have endured this trauma cannot be indifferent to the event in Cambodia. Therefore, a sum of $1,200,000 for the benefit of Cambodian children was collected in Israel, thanks to the efforts of youthful volunteers and to special television performance under the patronage of my husband, the President of Israel. The amount is equal to the joint effort made by Italy, Belgium, Austria, Greece, but we still cannot be satisfied. It seems to me, dear Mrs. Lopez Portillo, that in the gathering convened by you, we should conclude the International Year of the Child with a concrete project shared by all the world's countries. I take the liberty of proposing that a sheltered town for child victims of war be established. This time for the Cambodian children who have lost their parents and relatives and who are wandering terrified and aimlessly. This town will shelter some thousands of children until such time as conditions in Cambodia permit them to return to their home. Who would take care of them? You will ask dedicated educators and nurses from all over the countries, under whose authority? That of UNICEF. Where would the budget come from? An international fund should be established, financed by all the United Nations members. And we, wives of presidents and heads of states, would direct the activities in our own countries, along with the chairmen in the other countries. Where would the town of refugees be located? In whatever country volunteered to do this. If you, for example, Madam Lopez Portillo, thought that Mexico should take the lead, I am sure there would be enthusiastic agreement everywhere. Your dedication initiative would guarantee the success of this project. I know that there would be countless technical and financial problems, but I do feel that we ought at least to give serious thought to a proposal of this sort. We surely have to be aided by experienced administrators and experts, and we may assume that after the successful establishment of the first town, others in other continents would be helpless. We could at least give them temporary refuge. If this idea appeals to you, I would ask you, Madam Chairwoman, to kindly include it as part of the conference resolution and pass it on as our recommendation to UNICEF. I am sure that all of you pray for the coming of that day when the vision of biblical prophet will be realized and there will be an end to wars and a time of universal peace. Perhaps naive, however keen expression of this notion was given by a little girl, Israeli girl, who expressed the longing for peace in a poem she wrote, which seems to me more powerful than many official speeches. With your permission, this is the poet. I had a box of colors, shining bright and bold. I had a box of colors, some warm, some very cold. I had no red for the blood wounds,